This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC, bringing to you today Raj from Virginia. We are going to talk about ourstore.co. We're going to talk about private label supplements. We're going to talk about taking the gym and turning it into a store. Think about your members as customers, and let's create more recurring revenue strategies. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Appreciate being here, man.
Sure. And a quick shout out to Alex from Cultivate Advisors for connecting us. And he's always got good content and good connections. So thank you to him for putting us together. So look, people have been trying to do more things inside of a gym for a long time. People have been trying to do, meal plans. People have been trying to do wellness, medical programs, physical therapy, the final frontier, or, I would say like, what can we get to that we know people are going to always want as part of their workout and part of their recovery is supplements and vitamins. So talk about how our store came about, how you feel like you can now penetrate the channel, and is the channel ready to finally embrace this?
There are 2 points I think that every gym needs. One is on the retail side, like apparel. You got to get shirts on backs. If they're wearing any other person's shirt, in my opinion, that's a missed opportunity for brand connection. And then the second piece, certainly in kind of the higher intensity training gyms, 85% of people are taking at least one supplement, be it a vitamin or fish oil or whatever. And that opens the door for the discussion about a nutrition program and meal planning and everything else. But I think starting at the basics, like you got to get shirts on backs and you got to give people an easy solution besides searching on Amazon for protein. Like that's a scary place to send people. So what we're trying to do is keep it in the gym, you keep the revenues in the gym, and you keep the selection gym focused and gym branded.
Now, if you go back 10 or 15 years, there used to be a delineation between what personal trainers could advise on the nutrition and supplementation side. Yeah. There were some cases related to like ephedrine and some of these other things that were harmful to you. We knew they were harmful from the beginning. It doesn't matter who recommends it. But how have you kind of crossed over that where they could prescribe? And how are you looking at it from like a personalization standpoint?
Yeah. So on the supplement side, we only make 15 different products and we build the powders ourselves. And we're focused on things that people are taking already. So things like whey protein powder and creatine. So things that are on the fringe science, like they've been on the fringe since the start. And it's only the niche, like the few people at the very top who are trying to get whatever, that extra inch of growth. And so we find in the general market, community-based fitness, like these people are looking to be healthier, not just quote fitter or stronger or bigger or leaner. So we build our supplements based on health. We certainly don't tell people to prescribe them, but it's what we want to provide is when someone asks the gym owner or one of their coaches, hey man, you're so fit or you're so healthy, what do you take? We want to arm them with an answer that builds, drives revenues in their business and also keeps them on brand.
How is the club owner on average incentivizing the trainer or the group X instructor? Have you set up some kind of like incentive or MLM type of, commission structure?
Yeah, it's a good question. So our business is split into two. We have on-site and online or on-demand. Kind of our main product right now, certainly after COVID, is the done-for-you online retail store for a gym. So gym has a website. What we do is host the store, build the store, and populate the store with the products, both on the apparel and the supplement side. So everything is online and on demand, right? So on the online side, we have almost like ambassador codes that a gym owner can create for his staff. So someone goes online and use Chris 10 to save that 10%, give a kickback to the coach. On site, we tend to work with a lot of one-off gyms. And so they're a real closer knit community. So the less codes there and more just kind of everybody buying from the same store. But certainly with the online on-demand sorts, if you get people there, everything else is done for them.
What's the breadth of the products that you're hosting? And do they select and deselect what they want?
Yeah, it's a good question. So everything we've built is from the idea of like, give us your logo. And if you want, pick colors and let us do the rest. Like we're going into a low tech environment. These gym owners, they want to push barbells and they want to coach people. They don't want to learn new software. They don't want to know how big a logo needs to be or what a JPEG versus most of these people don't know what a vector file is. And they don't need to, frankly. That's our job. So if they give us their logo, we can build their whole catalog. So we're doing everything from, the tri-blend tee and tank and hoodies, but we're also doing custom branded wrist wraps and, knee sleeves. And then, of course, on the supplement side, similarly, fish oil, creatine, protein, collagen, pre-workout, and some BCAAs. But it's pretty focused. But a gym doesn't need to offer 100 different T-shirts, and that's not our bag anyway. That's someone else's market.
When you take a look at private label supplements, obviously, if I'm going direct to consumer, I would have a product liability insurance. How do you guys get around that, or how do you kind of couple that in with the service?
Yeah, yeah, and supplements are a scary place. They are terribly underregulated, and again, that's why just searching the word whey protein on any online sales marketplace is not where people should go, or running into a GNC or any retail space, in my opinion. So the liability comes back to the manufacturer as far as product liability, like finding a piece of metal, right? Like we're just like buying anything else. This is produced in an FDA inspected facility. We're just the ones putting the label on it from our warehouse. Obviously, the
Gotcha.
liability on the gym side is if they start marketing it saying, hey, this will cure your baldness, like take creatine and cures baldness or cures cancer. Like that's where the liability really exists.
Right. They do though,
Mostly,
right? They cure those things, right? Okay.
you can. It's really amazing stuff right now. Yeah, come a long way.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks. Um, give us an order of magnitude, without disclosing like specific clients, but is this a $1,000 a month, 5,000, 10,000? Like what are the groups that you say, thankfully, they're my client because they actually get it and they're
Yeah.
driving it as part of their narrative and as part of like the culture of the club.
Yeah, and you're right. That is the biggest difference we see between successful and less successful stores is not the size of the gym. We have gyms with 150 people who are bringing in $300 to $400 of profit, not revenue, but like what actually goes into their bank, right? And they're making 25 to 35% margin on these. So they're bringing in $300 a month, every month, sometimes more. And then we have 500-person gyms who are bringing in like $100 or less because they don't talk about it. At the end of the day, you got to be the ambassador for your own brand. And I think what's really interesting is we have some folks who are only customers on the apparel side. So they're not a part, whatever. They have other supplement partnerships, so they're just not into it. So they're just doing the tees, tanks, hoodies, and everything, all the accessories, hats, beanies. We have some stores who are making $400 a month, $500 a month. And then on the supplement, we have some folks who only do supplements who, can make $300 to $400 a month. But where we see the greatest value is when you have both together. And the reason is simple. You got apparel and accessories, which are non-consumable, and then you have supplements, which are. So once the guy joins a gym and he buys his first t-shirt online, he doesn't necessarily think he needs another t-shirt. But when he runs out of that bag of protein, it gives him an excuse to go back to the shop. And that's when he sees, oh, I didn't know they had beanies, or, oh, they dropped a new style for the holiday season or whatever. So the consumable parts work really well at the same time with the apparel and accessories. It's back and forth.
And when you take a look at what they're still doing, a lot of health club operators used to tell me that their pro shop was a profit center until I do the math for them and show them that it's actually a cost center from a standpoint of shrinkage and people giving stuff away for free to members and theft and so on and so forth. Do you find that groups are kind of viewing their pro shop or what used to be a pro shop, one, repurposing that space, and two, maybe more of like a showroom, or just like, here's a couple things you can buy online and here's a computer to actually buy it here, and do you have like a just in time or accelerated distribution, so it's kind of like a next day or the day after?
Yeah, a lot of our orders ship out in 1 to 2 business days, and with priority mail, like they're getting there in 3 to 4 days, depending on the product. Even some of our custom printed apparel that's on demand, printed on demand, still gets there in 3 to 4 days, depending on where they are in the country. But you're right. Having a big on-site store, especially in the community gym space that we work in, where it's often 1 or 2 rooms and they don't have a huge warehouse in the back anyway, let alone a front desk person to watch the inventory. That's just a huge cash flow crush. And so COVID was one of the best things on our end, it made the gym owner realize, like, hey, I need to diversify my revenues besides subscriptions. Because what happens when my subscriptions are hold? I have no other way to communicate brand with my members. So they started to realize that people started becoming more comfortable with shopping online. I mean, during COVID, we all shopped online. And so being able to have one t-shirt and one bag of protein to create, like you're saying, a little mini store just to show you what there is. And then you have one QR code that you scan and it takes you to the store where you can buy any flavor of the protein or any
Mm-hmm.
size of the shirt. Um, yeah, it works really well. And it turns it into a true profit center because now your inventory can be zero. Or what we tell people to do is like, look, the black medium t-shirt, you're going to sell that. The double XL in orange, maybe not, but we can put it on your store and someone can order that one online. So you get stores that are focused on the sizes, the flavors, and the products that actually sell and keep pushing through. And the other stuff, the niche stuff, you can keep online for those just in case, you know, happenstances.
So what were you doing before this, and what got you excited about the industry?
Yeah, so I had a background first in the nonprofit world, and then in the private label wine production world, and then in the CrossFit world. And so it's this helping people plus private label production, that whole back end manufacturing piece, and then seeing what a small gym looks like and seeing how it operates and still struggles to like make it a real career for the owner operator.
Gotcha.
So I mean that's my background as far as like the passion. It's bringing all three together. Like we
Mm-hmm.
wrote this business plan 10 years ago and started executing on it about 8 years ago, and we've seen the change. Originally, it was just hey, let's build retail programs for gyms, and it was more along the lines of the supplements and the apparel, like order 100 units and sit on at your gym. And that worked for some locations, but then being able to create this kind of proprietary done for you online store where like you don't have to do anything, and one monthly subscription cost is your only, like you can project that out, right? You want to talk about budgeting, budget that store costs out, know that's your only cost, and now your retail is truly a profit center. And that's seeing gyms make more money without having to do anything and seeing them improve the customer value and their unit economics. Like that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. So Dave and I both have startup experience in the Halo sector, in the fitness space. Also selling into gyms and selling into health clubs, and that sales cycle is sometimes ridiculously long for kind of no reason. You just kind of have
Yeah.
to get somebody's attention,
Yeah.
share with them the frustration you're solving, and get it onboarded. So when you take a look at a new prospect, talk us through, is there APIs that you're doing with their billing member management system where you can say, hey, this member has been to the gym this many times, is buying this online, and start to like connect the dots on, data and intelligence? Or right now you're just saying, look, I'm going to get this up here for it. It's going to stand on its own. We'll connect it when it needs to be connected, but just trust me, like, don't leave money on the table.
Yeah, the whole API and really digging deep into customer data is the next level. We have a couple franchise partners where we're starting to get to that point. I mean, now like at the franchise level, we have these. Let's say they have 200 locations, right? We have 200 unique stores for each location. For each location, make its profits and revenues, but then we still connect them all on the back end for all the data and any bulk pre-sale or whatever we're doing. So there we're able to collect more data and kind of like really push the envelope on how to kind of how to predict what the market wants next. But generally, our biggest value add is that it's a done for you. It stands on its own. Like we don't need access to your website. Doesn't matter what website you use. We don't need access to your billing. We handle the payment processing and sales tax reporting for you. We don't need your wholesale license unless you're going to buy from us directly. So it truly is like sign up, drop logo, approve your proofs, and then voila, you have a store and like you're a part of the retail game. And then honestly, at the end of the day, where we become a marketing company because what we're trying to do is help you promote your own brand. So things like email campaigns and social post, media post templates that you can customize with your images, or we do it for you, all of that. So we become really a marketing partner or a retail partner because it's like, look, we have the products, but you just got to get in front of your market. So
Gotcha. And then from a standpoint of being an entrepreneur and doing this for 10 years, talk us through a couple of the key decision points that you made related to, I know who my next hire is and this is why.
Yeah.
Building out an org chart. Sometimes people build out an org chart because they think they need one versus, hey, let's just hire a couple of utility infielders and we'll get the job done. We don't really need to like fill a box. We just need to fill a position. So how do you think about that as an entrepreneur?
Fortunately, like if I had to give one piece of advice, it would be choose your financiers wisely. Like I have really good funding from people who were patient and could see the vision beyond the next 12 months. And so it let us build the system before we had to fill the funnel. I mean, our sales were growing, but it wasn't like we had the pressure of, hey, our next hire needs to be a salesperson no matter what, because we got to hit X before the next payment is due. So because we had a little more time, we were able to build the foundation and build the system. And that really led us down this path after 2020 of kind of revolution in the business, taking it online, creating this done for you approach, and building on everything we had, so that now, after all of that, now we can start really focusing on expansion. But honestly, up until now, most of our hires and most of our money has been spent on like customer service, internal operations, and account management. Our retention rate's super high, and our biggest growth sector right now is referrals. We expect that to change as we kind of get into growth mode, but people like what we do for them. They stay with us, and then they tell the other gym down the street. Um, so that's where we've been focused. So yeah, we've had that luxury.
And as a like grassroots marketing and guerrilla tactics and kind of waiting for the referrals after you plant the seeds, have you seen anything that you're super excited about? Whether it's somebody providing you with like leads based on, I don't know, I'm thinking out loud here, people that actually embrace technology, and like, okay, that's probably a warm hire, or somebody who a company that has like a director of partnerships, or somebody's got multi-unit and they actually give a shit about people's results.
Yeah.
Are there certain like markers that you say, like, because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is talking to the entrepreneurs out there, somebody might say, and I was part of Gold's Gym for a long time, so I got tainted by that. But I'm like, I got the Gold's Gym account. That's awesome. Now you basically have like a fishing license to call every Gold's Gym and just pay now a kickback to corporate on their vendor program. So you didn't really get anywhere. You just kind of like entered the pond, but you
Yeah.
thought you like caught a lot of fish, and now like you have the right to go and fish. So what are some of the things where you say, like, this is a perfect prospect, and through my time of doing this, I know that this is quicker to say yes if I have these types of people with this type of company versus just dialing for clubs?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great question. And it is, they're kind of creating our perfect customer avatar.
Yeah.
It's not about how many members they have. And it becomes a lot more about, is the gym owner trying to make this a career, meaning he wants to be able to send his kids to college and retire on this business? And when that answer is yes, it means they're willing to invest in it and look beyond, how can I get one more subscription this month or next month? And I mean, the ceiling of revenues for gyms is there, and it seems to get getting lower every day with inflation and everything else. And so finding ways to break that for them, is like what excites me. And so when we see gyms who have done the old school way of ordering 100 t-shirts, selling 50, and then the other 50 rot in a box in the back, and then they come to us and say, hey, like, what do I do with these t-shirts? Like, let's start over, let's rethink this. When they give a darn about their brand, because they know it's a good brand and they know people connect with it, uh, it's a fit. And then the, we the reason we love fitness and the reason we're still here and like still only focus in fitness is you already have the market, you already have the trust.
Yeah.
These people want products. You just got to give it to them, and that's what we saw.
And then the last question here I have is, as an entrepreneur, we did an interview once with the president of ABC, the big billing company. He called himself he's a 38-year overnight success.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of time, to create those tentacles to actually service the accounts to get to, 10,000 locations at the time. Again, for the entrepreneurs out there that are going to listen to you here, when you start to hear like AI this and, all these different buzzwords and machine learning. And, how do you as an entrepreneur kind of say, look, I know where I'm going. I got a clear path. Okay. I've already knocked some pins down. I'm just going to keep bowling, and I don't need to like pivot my business. I don't need to change my name. I don't need to infuse different adjectives. I'm just basically do what I know I'm set out to do, and no pivot required. How do you give us like a little, quote or like a belief system of like what reminds you that like you're making progress and that, you don't have to chase something else. You just got to penetrate more.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that technology doesn't take jobs away. It creates better jobs for people. And so my own company or any entrepreneur out there, whether it be AI or just other technology out there, it doesn't mean you have to stop doing something because AI can do it for you. It means if you can give that over to AI, like what else can you do? Where else can you penetrate and expand and focus on the things that really make you happy and get you towards your goal? So new technology has never scared us, and it shouldn't scare any entrepreneur. Like it's there to make your life better. You just gotta see it that way.
Awesome. Well, man, thanks for coming on the show. We'll get this proliferated across the network. I don't think there's any reason or holdups on why people would not have their own e-commerce store with branded products and drop ship.
I had a quick question though,
Yeah,
Pete.
Dave, go ahead, Dave.
Raj, for the supplement nerds who are listening to this, right?
Yeah.
I think you and I talked about this before we hit record here a while ago. Without giving away the secret sauce, all of your suppliers are from here, right? From the United States. Like you use top level raw material, like GMP practices and NSF certified. Can you talk a little bit about the actual, raw materials that you put in your products?
Yeah, so they're not NSF certified. The biggest reason is NSF is a racket.
Okay.
It's a marketing badge, in my opinion, not a quality badge.
Not a quality
it
thing?
means it's quality, but it doesn't mean if it's not NSF, it's not quality. NSF is typically tied to the brand, meaning you have to register your brand with NSF in this product. So every time, and so like we're dealing with people who are not going to do 10,000 bags of whey protein, in which case that $10,000 license cost like does not make sense, right?
Right.
So yeah, look, there are only a few people in the world who can turn milk into whey concentrate or isolate, right? So when you go on the market to find that, if you go through the big companies out there, you know exactly what you're buying, and they're making it for themselves, and they have extra, they make it for someone else. Similarly, the FDA inspected manufacturing facilities, they're running supplements for some of the big guys, but just like any other manufacturing line, it's not always full. Their job is really to fill the line, right? And so someone like us comes along and says, hey, here's what we want. Here are our ingredients. Go source it. Great. That's it. Like nail the taste, put it in the bag for us, send it to us without a label. Date stamped, everything like has a back label. All we're doing is we have expensive label printers. Someone orders a bag, we put it on the front. I mean, and further, if we publish every certificate of analysis on our website, so that someone can say, here's the protein. Is this a lot? Let me download the thing and look at the lot. We take it pretty seriously that like we're putting someone else's brand on this, right? Like
That's
at the end of
cool.
the day, if shit hit the fan, like it's not my brand, it's your brand. So that means a lot. If I made a guy at your gym sick, selling him some poor quality. So
cool.
we take everything we make. It's
awesome.
kind of the slogan here.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll get this out there and keep doing what you're doing.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate the time, guys.
You got it.
Thanks, Raj. Take care.